Hi, I'm Abby Hagyard with a head cold. And thank goodness I got it on Thursday after the video. And I was able to get through Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday sounding like the voice of doom if it were 12 years old and had a stuffy nose. Now I just sound a little bit, off. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to see if I can click on this thing. I am clicking on this thing. I am making it work. Ta-da! All right. Quick sip of hot, soothing beverage for the poor parched throat. Here we go. Um, I'm the word girl, and I can't come up with a word for how good that feels. All right. I had something I was going to talk about today, and I'm still going to talk about it. However, life being what it is, good morning, Freddie. It's wonderful to see your words here and know that you're here. How are you doing on a scale of 1 to 10? Hun, how are you? Let me know, okay? Um, my conversation today is about snacking. And there is a larger conversation that I'm going to have behind it because I stumbled over it first thing this morning. A very good friend of mine made a post, and it's not the first kind of post like this that I had seen. His, however, was a 7. All right, Freddie, hang in there, hang in there. This friend of mine made this post, and he's a very intelligent guy, and I like him. I like what he stands for. I like the work he does. I like his dry humor. And I read the post and I thought, all right, you know what? This is the kind of post that I would like to respond to. And I did. So I'm going to talk about the two things today, and I'm going to weave them together because this is what Vikings do. All right. So, in the first place, for any of you who have just stumbled on this for the first time, my name is Abby Hagyard, and I had a kind of a trajectory to fame thanks to a television show that was made in Canada back in the 80s and then got syndicated through Nickelodeon. And Nickelodeon then got us syndicated across the US Armed Forces Television Network to 53 countries around the world. And the show is called You Can't Do That on Television. And I've just turned my chair so you can see my mom costume on the mannequin behind me, because that's who I played on the show, along with several other characters. Good morning, Charles. And I hope, how's Kat? I hope everything's okay with you guys. So the oddness about the trajectory of that show was that it came out of nowhere. And at the same time, in the same city, we were also producing quite a few animation projects. We were doing the Care Bears for the very first time, and I voiced 3 of the original 6, and then there were 10. And so you can see, where am I putting? Right there. You can see that there's a lovely drawing of the 3 bears that I did: Friend Bear, Wish Bear, and Love-A-Lot Bear. And oh, good morning, Kat. Um, and then we did Teddy Brooks. We did a bunch of stuff. In any case, what I'm saying is that for this window of time, it was about 10 years, where Ottawa, which is kind of like Canada's Washington, D.C., not what you consider an entertainment hub in the way you think of, Hollywood, um, but all of a sudden extremely busy, and all of a sudden producing very, very high quality, high end, high profile, high dollar projects. And we were a fairly small entertainment community, so I was able to participate in a lot of the work. Now, something happened and continues to happen, and is part of the conversation that I'm having, is that people who loved the show couldn't get enough of the show. And people who didn't love the show wondered when all the hoopla was going to be over and we could all just shut up about it, couldn't we, and move on to something else. And the people who weren't infatuated or infected or paying attention to the purpose behind the show, because why, there's a lot of stuff to think about. Why would we delve deep into something that we're not keen on? The fact is that You Can't Do That on Television changed the way children saw themselves. We elevated kids to a place where it was okay to be you. It was more than okay. You were more than okay. You were exactly who you need to be. And we're all a better place for you being in it. That was what the show was meant to do. It was meant to show the adults as just because they're larger doesn't mean they should really be allowed to be in charge because, right? And the kids were long suffering about it, and massive eye rolls falling over backwards. And we had a lot of great jokes that were geared exactly to that age group. And so kids who were latchkey kids and kids who were going through puberty and kids who weren't sure who they were suddenly had someone they could say, there, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what this. Suddenly that show gave them something to point to and say, this is why I'm not happy. I'm confused. I'm feeling weird. I'm easily bullied. I don't know how to express myself. I am these kids. These kids are me. We became a voice for them. And the great and lovely and warm huggability of that is that still today, there are people who are now, moving on in their age who reach out and call me mom. There's people who met me because of the show who are in my chat right now. Freddie found his way, got on a bus for God's sake, and came to Canada for one of our slime cons all by himself with no idea. Just, I'm going. And once I get there, I'll figure it out. Charles and Kat, they came up for a visit in the fall. They'd always wanted to come to meet me. I spent every single minute I could with them because they came all that way. The least I could do was put my shoes on and leave my apartment. Eddie, same thing. Good morning, Eddie. How's the new dog coming along? So we have all become friends and connected because we have found things in common that we care about. That is the way it all works. When we don't find things, when we feel set adrift, we don't have any instructions. We don't have plans B or C. People don't raise us to think that way. They raise us to go along to get along, to join the nearest best group that feels most like you. And if there isn't one, suck it up. That's how most of us are raised. I'm a military kid. My normal changed every couple of years. I had to figure out how to fit in every couple of years. New school, new people, new what do I wear? New where the hell is my house now? And no one expected me to complain about it because that was the way of life. Nobody rose up against the military and said, brats rule. Nobody said that. All the decision makers said, okay, yeah, but pack the boxes because you're leaving. So the conversation today is, what happens to us when we are overwhelmed by something? We find a way to cope. We find habits that give us some kind of comfort. We try different things. If they don't comfort us in some way, we discard them and try others. And eventually, we settle on something that works. Now, if we discover that it's not good for us, it's not healthy, we've been taught and we have learned that the easiest way to break a habit that is unhelpful is to simply replace it with another habit, right? We do it all the time. I'm not addicted to caffeine. I only have the 1 cup a day. I really think it's the combination of the flavor and the heat, personally. And maybe that's my excuse. Maybe that's my story, but I'm sticking to it. Oh, my throat says thank you. So one of the things we do When we're trying to fit in and be with the cool kids. Back in the day, we would take up smoking. If somebody was smoking, we would take up smoking. When somebody said smoking's bad for you, we would replace smoking with something else. A lot of people, when they quit smoking, they discovered they got their sense of taste and smell back. And so eating, same thing. Pick the thing, put it in your mouth. It's the same physical function. And I have seen a lot of people inhale food, so there's that analogy as well. So, but we're not eating to feed a need that is like a chemical addiction. We're not eating because we're hungry necessarily. We put stuff in a bowl and put it beside us as something to do, as filler, as fill in, as because the habit of smoking, the interesting thing about smoking, I smoked very briefly, equivalent in my life, maybe 15 minutes worth. So here's what happens with smoking. When you walk into a space that you're not familiar, um, smoking gives you something to do. Back in the day when you were allowed to smoke, you sat down, you said, "Hello, I'm here to see Mr. McGillicuddy." And they said, "He'll be with you in a moment." And you sat there and you don't know anybody and you feel strange and different. However, if you were a smoker and it was legal, you could sit down and take out cigarettes and you could light a cigarette and then go through all the process and all the things that smokers did. It gave you permission to be somewhere with nothing really to do because you had busy work to do. Get rid of the smoking. What do? Chew gum. Because you're not gonna bring a bowl of chips to a doctor's appointment. Just saying. But you can chew gum. If it's for an interview, you have to remember to take the gum out because yeah, I want the job is not. So all of these things are replacements for something. All of these things are eventually unconscious habits. Knee jerk. Doctor hits you with a little hammer and he goes, okay. Walk into a strange space without even thinking about it. You either pop gum in your mouth, take out a cigarette, start knitting. You do something that allows you to feel less conspicuous. Oh, she's over there, she's knitting. It's not, oh, she's over there. What's wrong with her? Why is she just sitting there? Oh, she's busy, she's knitting. Okay. And so it is a way of blending in with the herd. It's a way of not feeling conspicuous. It's a way of transferring our thoughts, our nervousness to something else until our moment in the sun presents itself. It's filler. It's like conversational filler. Filler. Like, So anyway, those are filler words. When you read a book, you open any book at all, the first sentence doesn't begin with, so unlike anyway. It says, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the other two sides. There's no filler in there. Once you've read that sentence, you've said, okay, slam, let's try another book. No filler when we have something to say. No bowl of stuff when we are fixed and fabulous and focused on the thing we do. Filler is when we're in between. So when I started off saying, are we snacking because we're not hungry? Are we just having a little bit of this and a little bit of that because we're not hungry? Maybe. A taster's menu. There, sometimes when I go out to a restaurant for a meal, and I look at the menu, I'm not into the whole idea of a large piece of something and 4 or 5 things sitting around it. I look at the appetizers and I think, ooh, well, I love those and I like that, and I love that. Why don't I just have those for dinner? See, to me, that's not snacking. To me, that's tasting and savoring in small portions, a variety pack of portions, a taster's menu, the crudité boards, They're little samples, antipasto, nosh on this before the big lump of something arrives. I may not be in the mood for a big anything. So would I be snacking then? Maybe. Been to Ottawa twice, but I've never been to Washington, D.C. Been to D.C., it's crazy traffic there, but a ton of stuff to do. You need at least 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, 3 weeks to see almost everything. Wow, Charles. So, see, this is, by the way, this is what I mean about how much why I love these videos that I am recording and you are participating in, is because we got a whole other conversation going on here on the side. We have people who have, you can't do that on television in common. We have people who are of a similar age. We have people who have developed an understanding for and interest in other similar shared passions and policies and processes and tasting flight. Yes, as they call it. Yeah. Bradley Schaefer. Mom, hi, honey. So snacking is, to me, something to do, as opposed to doing something. I don't know what I feel like eating. There's a great joke going around on Facebook, social media, when somebody says, typical serving of potato chips, 5 chips, and the person says, 5 chips. I eat 5 chips while I'm standing in the pantry trying to decide if I want chips. And everybody laughs at that, because you do. You're not thinking. You're just saying, do I feel like chips? Oh, bag's empty. Guess not. So filler is what we do to mark a place that we're not ready to own. It is, I'll be back. It's turning the corner of a page in a book. It is saving a bookmark on a computer page. It is leaving something under a door to let you know, a Post-it note, don't forget the milk. That's filler. It is how we bridge separate things so we don't feel anxious about the fact that we don't actually have a do to be doing in between. When that gets to be intrusive is when we feel the need to fill those silences rather than enjoy them. When we stand on a beach and they say, I just want to see the waves crash. Okay, well, there'll be one coming along in a minute. Why don't you watch this one recede and watch all the small waves and smell the salt and feel the breeze and feel the sand between your toes. Oh, look, there's another wave. See? They have to go away to come back. We need space between our ideas. We need to exhale so we can inhale. We need to pause to let the thoughts come. If we don't, a very predictable thing happens. We lose our appetite. We're never really hungry. Oh, I don't know. I was pretty much snacking all day. Yeah, this is my favorite restaurant, but I don't know, I'm just not into anything. Really? Quelle surprise. There's a reason why our parents said, don't eat before supper, you'll ruin your appetite. I cooked that all afternoon. You're not going to eat this and then not enjoy that. What I've made is special, and I want you to save up and savor and anticipate special. I don't want you to be so overwhelmed and overloaded by filler sensory overload that you can't focus, that you're too tired, you're too inundated to be able to enjoy, to be able to imagine, to be able to anticipate and look forward to and say, oh my God, it's a pony. If we just keep giving ourselves treats after treats after treats and filling in the silence and filling in the silence, we're numbing every single nerve ending we have. We're not sharp anymore. We're not ready to respond with any kind of speed when something comes along that we need to be protecting ourselves against or readying ourselves for to win. If we don't do the work it takes to be ready, to be rested, we got nothing but an empty bowl with potato chip crumbs in it. So that's one of the big things. That's one of, well, good morning, Julie. How wonderful to see you joining us. The other thing about snacking is that it fills an emptiness. It gives us an excuse to delay. The emptiness I'm talking about isn't hunger. The emptiness I'm talking about isn't loss or loneliness. The emptiness I'm talking about is uncertainty, lack of confidence. What if I fail? What if I fail? Okay, so if I don't start, I can't fail. So, but I can't just sit here and not do anything. So what I'll do is I'll make myself busy. I'll find something to do so I don't have time to try, do, fail, and try again at doing. Why on earth would we feel that way in the first place? What on earth would have trained us to think that our effort wouldn't qualify? Where did that come from? I can see how it would lead to snacking. I could see how it would lead to putting something else in here, something that makes a crunchy noise, something that's salty and makes us wake up, something that's sweet and makes us bounce. I get all that. But this whole thing about pivotry and motion that I'm talking about to people over and over and over again is that the missing piece of information in the instruction booklets we're given is that we can't change our path until we change our mind. And no one tells us how we do that. I do. I can. I have. And I will. And in fact, I'm showing you little bit by little bit every day with these videos. How we change our mind is a process. We've done it without actual verbal instructions. We've done it by watching someone else do something, and we've copied the doing without the thinking ahead of it. So it's not something we can repeat, and it's not something that we can originate and adapt and change. All we're doing is copying. All we're doing is cloning. And we have no idea if we actually have the ability to do something original ourselves. After that, all we have to do is look around for all kinds of signs and signals and instructions that tell us that's right. You are nothing unless you do this. You are no one unless you do that. The only way you fit in is by this or that or the other. And when we can't follow those instructions, when we can't follow those rules, when we can't achieve what they tell us we must, we snack. Because it's all we have. So the reason I took us down that little path is to help us segue to the second thing I want to talk about. It's very interesting. So, when we see lightning in the sky and we hear thunder and it rains, we don't think about what those three things do and why they happen. When we see lightning and we see the flash high and it goes, and then we hear the rumble, we think that the lightning comes from here because that's the brightest thing we see. That's not how it works. Look it up. It actually works the other way. So the comment that I responded to this morning was written by somebody, as I said before, smart, clever, hardworking, talented, sardonic. I really enjoy the conversations that I see him having and that I get to engage in. And his comment was, I get the Taylor Swift phenomenon. When are we going to have the media stop focusing on that so we can hear stories about all the other young people who are doing something amazing? And I said to myself, alrighty then, here we go. And here's what I said. She's not the phenomenon. It's not her. Since the beginning of time, people have voted with their wallets. They may not have had wallets, but they have put their money, they have put their value, they have put their interest and their investment where their mouth and their hands and their feet are. They vote with their wallets when they buy a ticket. When they buy a ticket to this and they don't buy a ticket to that, they're saying, you get my vote. Why does somebody get our vote? They get our vote because something they do resonates with us. Whether what they say is true or not, whether how they say it is what the trigger is, irrelevant. We align ourselves with events, circumstances, people, outcomes that make us say, that's me. I'm that. And we go stand there. Safety in numbers. People like us. That is how the human has survived. By banding together with people of with creatures of a similar nature to gain strength and focus and purpose and drive. Since before, well, I'm going to say after World War I, probably World War II was when the machine ramped up, really, in terms, and the technologies and the platforms were available to spread the word, any word, in a significant way. And since then, since the beginning of Barbie and G.I. Joe and Playboy magazine and everybody else who came along, Vanity Fair, Vogue, all of the movers and shakers, the Hollywood filmmakers, oh, I just made a poem, every single person of any kind of influence who said, people like us who are advantaged and different and special, do this. All the cosmetics and fashion and beauty industries, all of the car manufacturers, anybody building anything, keeping up with the Joneses, all of the push behind marketing and advertising has worked when people felt insecure and uncertain and didn't know who they were and needed something to believe in. Every single time you look at a movement, okay, interesting movement, let's look at the people who are following it. What do they all have in common? What is missing from their diet? What have they been left out of? How do they see themselves as outsiders and outcasts and unworthy unless we do all of that in order to qualify? How are they the same? Because they are the phenomenon. The figurehead at the top is merely the keyword in the search engine. They become known by that one word name for the simplicity of looking it up. But that's not, that one name, that one person is not who they are. They are a collection of things that are missing in their lives. And they have all seen, heard, felt, and come to believe that in some way, not all of it, some way, respects them, speaks to them for them. They stand there and they say, yeah, I've been saying that for years. Yeah. Why do they follow that? They're not really following. They're not really following. Have you noticed that these people, these big people, they go to places where all the big groups of people are. They go to speak with them. Why? Because that's where the phenomenon is. The phenomenon is that many people who are ready, who have already changed their minds, and they were just looking for a direction, a hook, a path, a tool, a vehicle to go where they were meant to go. That's all it is. It is enough people saying, I'm tired of eating that. I'm tired of wearing this. If only there were something else I could, wait a minute. There it is. I'm doing that. Someone hit the right note. So, this whole Taylor Swift thing, it's got nothing to do with the music. It's got nothing to do with a concert. Although the joy of being able to gather in public after 4 years of not being able to go outside your house to sneeze or change your mind is certainly, yay, we're free. There's that. It's not about the music. It's not about the platform. It's not about what she's wearing. It's not about the fact that she's a girl. It's not about any of that. Just don't look at her. Look at them. These are mothers and daughters who haven't gone anywhere together for a very long time. These are little boys and little girls who reach their teenage years and were always told, don't listen, don't make trouble. Just stay quiet. Just keep your nose clean. Don't make waves. Don't stand out. All of a sudden, there is a very respectable, well-dressed, intelligent, attractive person saying in public, you know what? I messed up. My bad. What? She has no problem looking stupid? Oh my God. That's the you can't do that phenomenon, by the way. She says, you know what? I don't like what you did. I don't like what you did. It was mean. And I'm not going to stand for it. I don't like what you did there or there. And she said it in public. Oh my God. This woman who had all of her material stolen, butt out from under her. She's not the first musician. She's not the first talent to be ripped off. You know, my friend Jeremy the other day was saying that the icon in baseball today has just recently discovered, he's Japanese, he's just recently discovered that his translator, his interpreter, also a relative, just ripped him off for all his money. What? So betrayal by a family member, I'm broke, and I feel like an idiot. That's probably going to not hurt his game at all, right? And all the people surrounding him saying, no, that's wrong. Yeah, well, in this case, this young lady didn't wait for other people to say, no, that's wrong. She said, oh, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fight you. I can't fight you. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to re-record everything and call it something else. And you can't stop me. And they couldn't. And she did. And all these people are saying, yes. In the middle of one of her tours, she was talking about the fact that this time a year ago or 2 years ago, she had been in a courtroom in some state where she was fighting against a disc jockey at a radio station who had thought he could probably get away with a bit of a little, nudgy feely thing, an insult of a colossal nature. And she had sued him, and he had sued back. And so she sued him again for $1. And she won. And when she was sitting there getting ready to play her song, she said, I want to tell you that today's an anniversary. And here's the anniversary. It's not that I won. It's not about the fact that I won. It was $1. That's not it. That moment in court when the decision was made in my favor, someone believed me. There is a woman by herself on a stage saying to the world how much it meant that someone believed her. In that moment, that woman spoke to victim blaming, victim shaming, victim suicide, mental health, standing up for your rights, being unafraid to be you. She spoke to all of that, to every single person of any size, shape, color, form, function, gender, who had ever been told, mind your business, fall in line. Sucks to be you. Every single person, whether they like her music or not, if they couldn't hear it, if all they saw was a caption, bang. There are mothers and daughters. There are mothers and daughters and sisters and brothers and boyfriends and husbands and football players and football fans. They're not going for the music. They're not going for the sparkly dresses. They're going for somebody who works out in a gym every day, writes and records and produces and directs and navigates new content, fresh content every day, and goes up on a stage for 3 hours with no break, show after show after show after show, because it's who she is. And they look at that and they say, you know what? I really loved Barbie growing up. I really loved G.I. Joe. I think Ken was pretty cute. But if anybody ever wanted an action figure hero who is not afraid of looking like a fool, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the phenomenon is all those people saying about time. It's not about Taylor Swift. It's about people saying, I'm really done with being a victim. I'm really done with filling a bowl with empty cheese doodle crunchy bits because I don't really know how, and I don't really know if I deserve better. We do. We deserve better. When they are buying a ticket and going to see her, they are saying, I choose me, not I choose her. That's the key word search. I'm not a music person. That's because I'm not allowed to sing. They've passed a bylaw. I'm an entertainer, not because I need to be in front of people, although the adrenaline rush is pretty cool. I do these videos for the same reason. I'm a navigator. I'm a storyteller. I send out a ping if I get a ping back. I know there's somebody out there, somebody who cares. If I say, is anybody out there? And the voice comes back, no. I say to myself, we are all in this together. I used to get stopped in grocery stores by people who would say, walk up to me. This is when we were doing the kid show. Walk up to me in a grocery store and say, I don't like your show, you know. I don't think you're funny. And I think it's a disgrace. I don't know who these people are on this cart list. Why are there peewee eggs? This person goes along. We don't watch. We don't like your show. And I said, well, you know, why don't you change the channel? Just the kind of thing I expected someone like you to say. Huh, walk away. I was happened to be once in a grocery store. The guy stocking the shelves. I'm standing here with my cart, and just the guy over there, and he watches the person walk away, and he says, "I like your show." I said, "So do I." I don't have much time to watch it. I'm usually doing it when it's on, but you know, he said, "You can't please everybody." Was that an early run-in with a Karen? I have no idea. I have no idea. But it happened a lot. It happened a lot. So when this really smart, funny, clever, insightful friend of mine said, you know, when are we going to move on? And my reply was, do you know how long we have been waiting for a different message? Do you have any idea how exhausting it is to walk into a place where the receptionist looks like a Kardashian clone? You know, I'm going to talk about something on Thursday. It's a secret, and except that it's going to be a secret no more as soon as I talk about it. You don't get ahead by looking like everybody else. If all you do is look like everybody else, you don't get ahead, you go along. You're not making a difference, you know. You're one of many. Okay, there's 97 women with taupe lipstick. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I wear lipstick. I just want to say this as a woman and as somebody looking at the human condition. Generally, when people's lips turn taupe, they're dead because there's no blood. They're not. So I don't want to look like that. But granted, I have chosen to go to the far opposite of that. But you know what? My choice. I want to be colorful. I like being colorful. It's raining outside. It's been raining outside since 3 a.m. when it went boom, shaka laka laka laka. And I sat up and I said, hello. Yes? What am I supposed to be doing? And then I heard all the, you know, the hard rain falling against the windshield, windshield. And I don't want to drive a gray car on a gray day on gray pavement. I don't want to wear clothes that make me invisible. I want to be recognizable so that people can find me if I'm lost. I want I want to save time and money and energy. When somebody says, I wonder if Abby Hagyard's here, and I'm right there, and I go, boop, boop, turn around and think, oh, sorry, didn't see you there. What are you, colorblind? Yes, as a matter of fact. Why do you ask? So if you want to look like everybody else for safety, okay, yeah, sure. Back in the Serengeti, that's a good idea. And this isn't the Serengeti. If we want to stand out in order to be heard, seen, and valued, we have to believe it's okay. We have to believe that it's safe. And then we need the instructions to show us how. Because we've had the other instructions since 1946 on how not to stand out, on how to be uniformly beautiful by wearing this and walking this way and eating this and driving that. I didn't pick my cars because of the brand. I picked my cars for their adaptability to the accessories. For me, a vehicle is a vehicle. So the reason I wanted a white BMW was because I had a pink flamingo hood ornament. The reason I now drive a copper colored car is because I no longer have a white BMW with a pink flamingo. And like lots of white BMWs in a neighborhood, perhaps. Okay, but you'd know when I was there because mine was the only one with a pink flamingo on the hood. Okay, how do we know I'm there now? Oh, I don't know. Have you seen Abby's new car? It matches her hair. That figures. Why do I want to stand out? Is it all about me? No. I'm the one steering the boat. I want to help you find the boat faster. I want to help you look up and say, oh, there she is. Look in the map. Look, oh, there. Oh, there. I want to make the distance between one leap and the next as short as possible so we can move on. We are bored when we are depressed, when we are unhappy, when we have given up on a dream, when we are exhausted, and we have nothing that galvanizes us and drives us and fuels our passion. When we choose to make do with smaller, when we choose to make do with safe, so it doesn't make waves, so we don't cause anybody to look at us. And when we make those decisions, we're bored. We're not challenged. It's not exciting. There's nothing to wake up for. We're not hungry because we didn't use any energy to get from here to there because we care. We're just kind of drifting through because there's nobody who believes in us. And if nobody else believes in us, why should we? And that is a colossal tragedy. Julie, remember, you sparkle and shine. Very proud of Kevin. Interesting. Very proud of Taylor Swift. She should be accepted as a great role model for young people. I don't understand the hate. I reckon that I just don't understand people. Ah, Kevin, you understand people very well. Hate is fear. Hate is fear of different. Hate is reluctance to lean into change because fear is different and we might fail. Part of the resistance to anything big and glossy and fabulous is a phenomenon called the must be nice. As everyone who has ever sat up until 3 in the middle of the night, banging their foreheads on the pointy end of the corner of the desk to try and urge creativity out from the mists in the back. No one envies the work. Everyone envies the result. So, no one's looking at the fact that there is someone who goes to a gym every day. There is someone who does resistance training and strength training and core training and stamina training every day. The new man in the news in the life of Taylor Swift is a professional athlete. We are not surprised that that professional athlete does what he does to get in shape ahead of his commitment and the ginormous salary they pay him to show up, play better than everybody else, and contribute to the fact that they win. They pay him for all those results, and the understanding is that he will invest to a similar degree in all the work it takes to achieve them. It's a partnership. No one thinks of a singer, a glitzy songwriter, as putting in the same kind of physical time in a gym. But how else do you do a 3-hour concert on your feet, no breaks, over and over and over? When we look back at the kinds of tours that we saw people doing, Beatles, even now the Rolling Stones, still longevity. How did they do all that? The Eagles, oh my God. Journey, Springsteen, this one. Oh my God, look at the energy they put out on stage. Absolutely. How many shows did they do back to back? 5? 7? Or was there a day in between for travel? Alone? Or was there a band? And could they go off stage for a minute while the band played the filler? And I'm not saying filler like it's junk. You watch U2, you're fascinated by all the musicians as well as the face and the voice in the front. So not alone. In this case, this woman alone. Yes, backup dancers. Yes, this. That's to keep everybody fascinated. The planning is that this woman said, I don't want to miss a thing. I want to savor every single moment. I want to figure out all the ways that I would feel connected when I felt alone. I want to talk about that. I want to speak about that. I want to talk about heartbreak. I saw an interview with her, and the interviewer said, "So, were you ever the kind of person who would write an angry letter just to get it off your chest and then not mail it, just put it in a drawer?" And she said, Taylor said, "No, those are the songs I put on my albums." The first time I saw this woman perform, and I was watching, and I was really listening to the songs, and I said to the friend of mine who worked with her, not Taylor, I said to the friend of mine who worked with the other, I said, "So if you took Alanis Morissette and you said to yourself, I wonder what would happen if I added a sparkly dress and cat's eyeliner and lipstick. I wonder what I would get in terms of outspoken. And I'm walking here. And I am the voice for the voiceless. When we get Taylor Swift, is that what we're seeing here? The phenomenon that was Alanis when she broke into the world and said, listen to me. She was my daughter on television when she was 12. She wasn't doing that then, but she was thinking it. clearly. And how many of our kids, how many of us would have given anything for door number 3 to be the one that we could claim as our own? I'm not musical. I listen to some music. I love to dance, not allowed to sing. I recognize intelligence and purpose and courage and a willingness to say, here, let me help you with that. Come on. I have a seat in my boat. I recognize that. I do that. I am that. My ancestors were that. Things got really ugly where they were. Really ugly. They had 2 choices. They chose door number 3. See ya. So for the I can't carry a tune in a bucket. Tell her's not my cup of tea, but I do not wish her. Why would we? Okay, that you don't like someone's music, and I appreciate the sentiment, Erin. Freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky, and you ask, "What if I fall? Oh, my darling, what if you fly?" I wrote 2 sentences 5 years ago. I wrote them one day, and I looked at them, and I said, "That's going to be a romance novel." And then I carried on with what I was doing. Every so often, I would look at those 2 sentences. And I said, that's going to be a romance novel. And then I wrote the romance novel. And I published the romance novel. And I looked at those 2 sentences and I said, that's not a romance novel. It was a great start to a romance novel. That is the opening to the next chapter in our lives. That is someone asking a question and someone giving the kind of answer that says, come here, give me your hand. Are you ready for the 2 sentences? Give me a second. Here we go. First sentence, question actually. Do you ever ask, what if? Answer. Only every other minute. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And you can too, is what is implied. So I'm glad that my friend Terry made his comment. The corollary statements, I'm not fond of the music, I don't wish harm or ill will. Those 2 things aren't connected. I don't like peanut butter. I don't hope your dog dies. Of peanut allergy. Okay, but randomly snapped together. What that statement is, how that person is doing what they do is not how I would do it. I make no judgment of her for doing it, is what this comment is. Okay, well, the most interesting thing is that somebody with a name who has said, I'm doing this, and all these people are saying, yes, Yes, that's what I would do if I knew how to do that. She's not asking for anybody to approve of her. She's not standing there saying, please choose me. She's writing the music, recording the music, performing the music. She has people to say, we got a lot of people liking that one. Oh, good. Okay. I'll do it tomorrow. She's not doing it to please anybody. She's not hoping you like her. She's telling stories. Period. She's telling stories. And when they resonate, those people are saying, tell us more. I'm not a this, I'm not a that. Okay, fair enough. No, I don't think anybody asked you. It's not about you. When back in the days when there were conversations about what various people should do with their bodies, and I would have somebody come up to me and say, I'd like to talk to you about this issue. And I'd say, well, that's really unfortunate. So I'm not interested in talking to you about it. I don't care what you think. I care what I think. I'm not trying to conform to what you think. I do my thing. Liking. Well, you need to understand. I don't need to understand you. You need me to understand you. This is all about you so far. So this is all about you. You go have that conversation with you. I'm not part of it. When there's an issue that is about people who can drive, when there's an issue about people who can't drive, and the people who are talking about it drive, they're the wrong people. Because clearly it's not about them. If there's an issue that is specific to people who are left-handed, specific, and I'm left-handed, I don't need to have somebody who's right-handed tell me about it. Thanks. If I wanted your opinion, I would ask. I'm not going to say just because you're right-handed, you don't have no voice. Of course you do. I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear it. I might be curious. I'm not, okay, fine. Okay. This isn't about choosing sides. This isn't about saying, there's enough of that. When you look, and all, one of the things that I was saying to this friend of mine, to Terry, this morning, since 1942, it was 46 actually, 46 when the war ended, 45. Okay. Let's say 44 for the sake of easy math. 44, 54, 64, 74, 84, 94, 2004, 2014, 2024. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 80 years of someone telling us what to do. 80 years. 80 years. Big budget media, marketing, industries, fashion, cosmetics, lifestyle. 80 years. 80 years. Did I mention it was 80 years? Taylor Swift is 34. She's been in the spotlight for 15 minutes. She's doing well. Here's a plan, everybody. Not 80 years. Give her a minute. Better yet, forget. Let's give all the people who are saying, yes, finally, let's give them a minute. Shall we? Oh, I've probably opened a can of worms. Oh, well. This is what I want to say about today. And what I want to say about the thing I'm going to talk to on Thursday. If you didn't show up, that's your choice. If you didn't buy in, also your choice. If you weren't given tools, unfortunate. When you reach a moment where you say, you know what? It's not that bad is no longer true. What I've had, or what I've put up with, is not good enough. Not for me anymore. I want more. Somebody show me how I do that. I'm in. Until we hit that moment, we are snackers. When we hit that moment, we are ready. And all we need then is the instructions. And oh, by the way, get out of the way. That's all it takes. I have the instructions, by the way. I am starting a way to provide the instructions. It's so much more fun when you get in the boat and see what's on the other side of the fjord. It really is. And you know what? Here's the thing. When you get in the boat and you row out and you get to the edge of the fjord, you look left and right to make sure there's no sea monsters. And you sail out, you row out, and you hate it. I mean, you say, okay, check please. You have every right to turn the boat around and go back. And on the way back, say, okay, here's how I'm going to do it different. We are free to be. All we have to do is want it. We don't have to be different. We don't have to be new. We don't have to be more to qualify. We don't have to look like Taupe City. We don't have to walk the runway. We don't have to be able to lift a car with a single bound. I think I just mixed a metaphor there. All we have to do is be. And if we have the instructions, and somebody to say, how's it working? You say, ow. Oh, here, you want to know how to fix that? Yeah. Okay. Because we're in it together if we want to be in it together. And if people don't want to be in it, it's fine. Change the channel. Easy. Click. There you go. Nobody is conscripting you. Nobody is forcing you. We just want you because we love you. And we want to be part of your happy. That's all there is. So enough of a rant. Maybe a rant. What else have I said? Let's return to Charles. Be well, Charles. Best cut. Yeah. Not anymore is such a powerful phrase, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So I want to thank the new faces and voices who joined me today. And I hope I didn't smack you over the head too hard. But welcome to Viking therapy. What I do is I clip you behind the ear and say, that'll be this much. See you next week. My bad. I'm glad you came, and I hope you come again. I hope you come back, and I hope you come back as feisty as you were this time. And I hope you tell your friends. And I hope we make this a thing. Because that is the way things begin. I want us to be a movement. Pivotry in motion. A pivot is a turning point. A pivotal moment is when that turning point happens. Pivotry is how we create the strategy to own it. And I know how. And I wrote the book. And I'll share it with you as soon as I get it published. Okay. So between now and Thursday, when I have whole new things to talk about, the drill is this. Be good to you. Don't listen to all that other stuff. Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones. They deserve it too. Thank you so much for watching and being. Haters gonna hate. Okay. I'll catch you next time.